So for those of you who don't know, and I don't know how you couldn't, Michael Ma, a Conservative member of Parliament who just won just a few months ago, has crossed the floor to the Liberal government, putting the Liberals one seat away from majority. He's the second Conservative, of course, to sell his soul to cross in recent weeks. The other one was Chris Dentremont, who joined the Liberals in November, citing Poilievre's leadership style. Now,
Sheila Gunn, just really quickly, what ethnicity is Michael Ma again?
Chinese.
Is he?
He's from Hong Kong, and this riding itself, this is why we bring this up, is because this riding was the riding where the Liberal candidate had to step aside after he encouraged everybody to turn Joe Tay, the Conservative candidate, over to the CCP to collect a bounty.
Right. So this is the guy that came in to replace him, right?
So this is the guy who won the riding for the Conservatives.
Right. To replace the guy that was there. Okay. So tell me, Sheila Gunn-Reid, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do we land on what happened to Michael Ma? Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, was he compelled by a foreign government maybe to do what he did? Like, is that within the realm of possibilities? Because we know that there are some, some things maybe that border
happening
into
in the background.
That's right.
And we just did an entire commission on foreign interference and then ran an election without knowing who were the foreign collaborators as parliamentarians.
Who they are?
We didn't get to know who they were, and we didn't adopt any of the recommendations in that show theater of a foreign interference commission before we ran that next election.
And tell me again, where was Michael Ma earlier in the week?
Do you know? Can we bring up Olivia? If you're poking around, and we'll watch some videos from Canada Proud in the meantime. But it shows Michael Ma. Okay, so this is what he was earlier this week, but there's just before, and we'll talk about it in a second. But in the meantime, if you look at some of the responses to what he's been up to, like I think he was somewhere with Victor O, and that's a Conservative senator who has been linked to the CCP. So I don't know what's going on here, why he quickly made the switch, but I will tell you that Canada Proud, Jeff Ballingall, he points out that it's real nice of Michael Ma to have found the time to attend the Conservative Christmas party last night. So this is the night before he crosses the floor. He goes to the Christmas party, dances with his colleagues, gets pictures with the
Conservative
leader.
Party of Canada Christmas party.
Right.
This guy goes to the night before?
The night before, and then... from what I understand, I think Pierre-Paul Housse, who is a Conservative MP in Quebec, points out, this is what I want to show you from Andy Lee. Anyways, Pierre-Paul Housse points out that Michael Ma didn't even pay for his ticket to attend the Christmas party.
That's
sleazy.
really
That's
skeevy.
sleazy.
I was just going to say that's super skeevy. Like to show. Okay, listen. Oops. If this was, excuse my fingers don't work today, guys.
Nothing works.
That says something where you know that you're going to do this. Like this certainly wasn't a 24-hour decision. Certainly not. This was on the back burner. So to show up at that party to make it look like you're keeping up appearance, not even pay for your ticket. And then cross the next day.
Oh, he came for the free dinner, for sure, and then...
That's shade level 10, guys. That's shade level 10. Okay, here's it. Yeah, here.
Okay, let's listen.
Yeah, please.
Mr. Speaker, we are in a shameful situation in this country where over 2 million Canadians are visiting Food Bank every month. At the end of every month, paychecks aren't going far enough. Why is that? The Liberals will want to deflect the blames this solely on the trade deficit. However, there is a simple economic fact. When you create more units of currency and map them to an economy that isn't meaningful, producing more units of goods and services, we get inflation. As a case in point, in the last 5 years, grocery prices have risen more than 20%. Mr. Speaker, we can't print our way out of the economic stagnation. We are already in this situation because of all the deficit spending engaged during the Trudeau years. Why are we doing more of the same? How insulting it is to hardworking Canadians for the Liberals to create a macro situation where paychecks can't afford food and rent, and then to pat themselves on the back for doling out welfare in various guises. There is no different than throwing rocks at household windows and then offering window replacement services. This is no different than pushing us into a pool and then offering us the floater. Yet, Mr. Speaker, this is the worldview of the interventionist nanny state central planners. The interest payments on our debt already exceeds what is transferred to provinces for healthcare. Yet the modus operandi of the nanny state would rather add to this debt instead of simply letting the natural drive of hardworking Canadians carry out our economy forward. Instead of getting out of the way, the Liberals choose to continually stand in the way of a naturally productive real economy. How can we meaningfully affect prices at the grocery store when the industrial carbon tax makes it harder to grow food, when the fuel standard makes it harder to ship food, and when the packaging tax makes it harder to sell food? The Liberals operate at a systemic system intervention and then propose branded one-shot measures to create the image of doing good for Canadians, by Canadians. If they stop their environmentalist overreach, Canadians could do good by themselves.
What happened, Michael? Ma, what happened? We
Right.
just heard everything you just said. You were talking nanny state. Okay, this guy's talking about the nanny state and systemic abuse by the Liberals that's keeping things unaffordable in
Right.
Canada. Michael Ma, blink twice if they've threatened you and
Right.
right, call for help, SOS us somehow. What happened here?
Right. Did he look? There are two things that are going on here. Either he's just a cynical, insincere person who doesn't believe a thing that he says.
He sounded pretty sincere there.
Right. Or he's been leaned on by somebody for some reason.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all for us, for Canada, for the people in his riding, not for the Conservatives, not for the Liberals, not in any way. If pressure was applied to this man, and listen, that is well within the realm of possibilities within Canada right now.
They were gonna abduct Joe Tay. Okay. You know what I mean?
Again, Michael Ma, blink twice if you need help, okay? You just give us a signal and we'll try to figure this out. But what a gross disappointment for Conservatives. It just shows how slimy the Liberals are and how committed they are to getting their hands on absolute power again. And what was that word? What's that phrase about absolute power?
Corrupts, absolutely.
That's exactly right, Canada, and they're one away. So make no mistake, the Liberals right now are campaigning hard to find an NDP that they can flip, to find another Conservative they can flip. That's one more person. But I do think that a great deal of attention needs to be placed on Michael Ma right now, because what we just heard there and what we just saw, him at the Conservative Christmas party one night, a Liberal the next day, this makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah. It's just hard. I don't know him, so I don't know. But it's just hard to believe that someone is such a snake.
So duplicitous.
But maybe he is. Mm-hmm. You know,
I mean, he could
be.
But just hearing that, that was a really great speech in the House
Right.
of Commons on behalf of Conservatives, taking out the Liberals at the knees for their terrible, awful, failed policies, saying what they're saying isn't going to work. So how all of a sudden, overnight, is this guy saying, no, you know what, the Libs have it. The Libs
Yeah.
have it. Just does not, none of this makes sense. And and again, like this is a red flag for Canadians, that your vote doesn't mean anything because the Libs will just come in and steal it if they need it. You know what I mean? Like, what is the point of all of this?
Right. Why have a democracy where you get to cast a vote if at the end of the day your vote just goes to the Liberals no matter how you try to cast your vote?
Exactly this. No, it's really demoralizing and awful for the country. But, meanwhile, the Libs are at their fancy Christmas mixers, just absolutely chumming it, elbows up, and all of their, what a festive time for those losers who are celebrating decimating the country. If I see one more Liberal swinging party with black tie and fancy sequin dresses, I might barf. Okay, I'm that done with them. They're so out of touch.
I might throw up, but for 100 other reasons today. And I did wear sequins last night, and my armpits now feel like they were put through a cheese grater. We've got another video from Canada Proud on Michael Ma. And this is just, I think this is just a few weeks ago. It's 42 minutes. Oh, October 27th this is from.
For Markham Unionville.
Mr. Speaker, every dollar the Prime Minister spends comes out of the pockets of Canadians through higher prices and through food inflation. Monthly visits to food banks have doubled since 2019, with 2.2 million visits per month. Nearly 10% of food bank users are now seniors. This is up 22%. This reliance on food banks has to become an ongoing necessity to survive. Mr. Speaker, when will the Liberals realize that their inflationary deficits are driving up the cost of food and driving Canadians to the food bank?
So now he just crossed the floor to the party of those policies.
Right. He just became part of the inflationary deficits that he claims that he didn't like.
Right.
He just became part of the machine that makes that happen.
Right. Like nothing changed in the 5 or 6 weeks since he said those things. Like absolutely not. No policies. We didn't somehow miraculously roll back inflation, cut government spending that's driving inflation, fix the trade wars that are making things more expensive for Canadians. We did nothing. In fact, it got worse. And he crossed over to the party that did it. And maybe I'm naive and I shouldn't be, because I know people say things that are untrue even when they seem sincere. And you believe them. Like, I know that happens out there, but it just, how do you go from that to this? And I guess, people do it in their lives every single day, lie about something and do something else.
Sell their soul.
Yeah.
Sell their soul.
People do it all the time. It's just that it feels, I hate to use the word gaslighting because it's so overused, but it's like, buddy, we're not hard of remembering.
Right. You just said those things.
You said them out loud with your face, as Chris Sims says, so we heard it.
And your constituents voted for a conservative, and you just became the antithesis of a conservative. It just boggles the mind, and it makes no sense. But again, I think that this comes down to the Liberals being willing to do absolutely anything to get their hands on absolute power. And this is not going to serve us well, Canada. It's just, listen, this is not going to end well for us.